So this is a Lunar Quasar 534, just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. Front of the van you've got your jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. We'll take you through these in person here on site. In the front locker you've got your gas bottle with your gas on off valve on top, so you've got gas on and gas off. Gas on and gas off, depending on which way you turn the valve. The fitment that goes into the gas bottle itself is actually a reverse thread fitment, so you'd have to turn it the opposite way to what you'd open a bottle of drink, for instance, to release the thread fitment. You've then got your gas pipe work going up to the regulator, and that's the regulator on the bulkhead. You can carry a maximum of 2 6-kilogram propane gas bottles at any point on board the caravan. Coming down the side of the caravan, you've got your wind down leg on either side at the front to stabilise the caravan while you're on site. You would never lift the caravan with these legs, as it could potentially damage the floor of the caravan. You've then got your heating and hot water flue cover. You need to remove this prior to using anything or using the heating and hot water on gas. As you can see, it clips back in place and you just pop it off by putting your finger on the cover there, pushing in and then pulling back with your fingers at the bottom. Then have your water pump connection. The water pump connection is very simple to use. Blue trigger at the bottom, you'll pull back the trigger and release the pump by pulling it out the side of the van, and push it in and lock it in place and release the trigger to put it into the side of the van. The pump itself will drop down inside the aqua roll, and you'd need to make sure the aqua roll is full before trying to fill the water system on board the caravan. Then once you've filled the water system, I would advise that you then put the water, fill the aqua roll back up a second time. On the side of the caravan, you've got your battery, your leisure battery, and then your mains power lead coming out the side, or coming into the side of the van, so that connects to the power on site. And also in this locker, you've got your motor mover power switch, and behind there, you've got a TV connection point, so you can connect the aerial on site to the caravan itself. Then got your fridge vents. Essentially, they'll take in some cool air and push out some hot air. And behind one of those you'll also find the gas flue for when you're in the fridge on gas. The wheel nuts and motor mover. The wheel nuts will torque before you leave site with the caravan, so you can see they've been tightened to the correct manufacturer's setting, and we'll demonstrate the motor mover so you can see it is working as it should. We've then got the 2 grey waste pipes coming out the side of the van. You have 2 bits of grey pipe that go into the larger diameter holes here on the outside, and they'll drop down inside the waste master at the side of the caravan. At the back of the van, you've got your toilet flush tank, so you'll open this up and you'll put 3.5 litres of water in here and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use. We do advise you drain this down before travelling, as it can potentially move around inside the van, or slosh around inside the van, should I say. At the top here, you'll see the pipe for draining that, and you pull up this cap on the end, and that will allow you to drain down the toilet flush tank. To release the toilet cassette, you'll pull up the orange handle at the bottom and pull the cassette towards you. The neck here turns out 90 degrees, so you can tip the waste away. And on the back of the cassette, you've got an orange pressure relief button, so when you're tipping the waste away, it doesn't spit and sputter back at you. You'll need to put in this cassette 1 litre of water and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use. On the back of the caravan on either side, you've got your 2 wind down legs to stabilise the van while it's on site. Again, you'd never lift the caravan with these legs. On the rear of the caravan, on the door side, you'll see that you've got a storage locker for underneath the bed, which you can also access from underneath or from inside the caravan itself. You've then got your wheels and motor mover again. Your storage locker, wet storage locker for the front of the van, and also in there you'll find a 3-pin plug so you can have power coming out to your awning. And then at the front here you've got a barbecue gas point where you connect your gas barbecue straight to and run off the gas bottles in the front locker. Going on to the inside of the caravan now. On the inside of the caravan, on the left hand side as you walk in the door, you'll find your master control panel. So you've got your mains power on, your voltmeter for the battery on board the caravan, your awning light for above the door, your interior lights for the 12 volt system, and then you've got your water pump running. We'll turn this off for a minute and I'll show you how that works in a moment. The first thing you're going to need to do when you come inside the caravan is fill the water system up. So what you're going to do is open all the taps up on the hot side of the water system. I'm just going to do it off this tap here, and I have already filled the water system up. As you'll see, the water pump is turned off, so it's not pumping for any more water. You'll then come underneath the seat on the front right hand side of the caravan, and underneath here you will find the yellow drain down valve. The yellow drain down valve needs to be parallel with the floor before you fill the water system up. If it's upright and pointing towards the bottom of the seat, it will drain all of the water out of the system on board the caravan, and you do need to do this after every use of the caravan. So when you're putting it away in storage, for instance, you drain the complete water system down, and you'd have all the taps open on board the caravan in the central position. That is when you're finished with the caravan after your holiday. So like I said, you would need to drain it down, because in the cold weather we're having at the moment especially, it could potentially freeze the water system and crack the pipework on board the caravan, and also the hot water tank just in the corner here. If that does happen, that is not covered on our warranty. So once you've got that yellow valve shut, I'll show you the electrical system in a minute. Once you've got that yellow valve shut and all the taps open, you'll come over to the control panel just by the door here and turn on the water pump. And as soon as the water system is full, you'll have water running out of every tap on board the caravan continuously. At that point, you can shut all of the taps back off and you can start warming the water on board the caravan. Before I go on to the water system, I'm just going to show you the 240 trip switches and the 12-volt fuses on board the caravan. So in here, you have your 240 trip switches on the right hand side. Good way of testing to see if you have power coming into the caravan is by hitting the test button just here. If this switch drops down, it means there is 240 coming into the caravan and the power is coming in as it should. If you hit that white test button and it does not trip down, then it means there is no power coming into the caravan from the caravan site you are on. It's not caravan related, it is the power on the site or the power coming to the van. On this side here you have your 12-volt fuses, and as you can see down the side there, it indicates what each of those 12-volt fuses is for. Going on to the water heating now. Next to the trip switches, you'll see the Ultra Store electric power switch. When the switch is off here, the water heater will be off on electric, and you can turn it on by flicking the switch down. On electric, it is a pre-set temperature of around 35 to 40 degrees, and that will warm up. It does take quite a bit of time to warm up, but once it does warm up, it will maintain temperature. If you wanted to warm the water up quickly, or if you're off grid, you do have the option to run gas. So on this control panel up here, the top one, you'll see there is a gas symbol. Now to ignite the gas system on board the caravan for the water heater, you'll turn this outer grey dial to the flame symbol. The green light will appear behind here, letting you know it's starting to ignite. If the red light appears, which it will do in a moment because the gas bottle is currently turned off, it means it has failed to ignite, or you have that cover on the outside that I showed you previously. But if the green light stays on, you can then control the water temperature between 30 and 70 degrees of water temperature, and we do advise when you're showering on board the caravan, you use this as the boost for the water system itself, so the water warms up quick enough for showering. To turn off the gas supply to the water heater, we'll turn it back to the off position just here. Below that, you'll see the Ultra Heat switch. Now what the Ultra Heat does is the 230-volt supply to the heating on board the caravan. So not the water heating, the actual heating itself. Down the side here, you'll see 500, 1000 or 2000 watts. Now obviously you're only going to use this if you're on a mains site with a mains hookup. But what you can do is you can select the relevant power supply for what you have coming into the caravan from the site you're on. Then control the temperature of the heater on the dial in the center here. I would advise, if you're not sure what power to set this to, you do ask the site office when you arrive on your holiday. For this to also work, I should say, you will need to have the power switch on just here, which is the main power switch for the heating system itself. If that is not turned on, you will not get a green light appear in that window just there on the right hand side, or behind the 9 on the right hand side of the screen there. You can also run the heating on gas. And to do this, again, you'd make sure the gas bottle is turned on in the front locker. You'd come to the control on top of the heater itself. You'd turn the dial on top and select between 10 and 9. Hold down the gas valve and it'll actually self-ignite. Once the heater is ignited on gas, you'll have a pilot light in this window down the front here. Once it has ignited, we do advise you hold down the gas valve for a further 5 to 10 seconds. then slowly release the valve and you'll be able to control the temperature on top. We do advise after a few minutes of it running just to come back and make sure the gas has stayed ignited. On the left hand side top of the heater, you'll actually notice that you've got your fan speed control here for the blown air heating. The higher you go, the same as in your car, the quicker the fans will blow. The dot in the center here is essentially the equivalent of having it coming out your dashboard straight at you, which will come straight out the front of the heater here. That's already on and that's quite hot, hence why I jumped there. You've then got the option to run blown air, so you can put it onto the wave symbol here, and that is continuous blown air, and that is when the heat will come out the vents around the caravan. You've then got automatic blown air. What this will do is essentially cut in and out with the thermostat on board the van. So if you've got it set on, say, the number 8 on that control panel over there, it will warm up to number 8, then cut out when the caravan is warm enough. The fridge is very straightforward to use. You've got a power button on the front here, press the power button and the fridge will come on. At the moment, it's trying to connect to the 12 volt supply from the car you're towing with. Now, at the moment, we haven't got a car connected to the front of the caravan, so hence you can see it is flashing to indicate there is no power source, and it has come up with a 10 and a spanner symbol indicating there is a fault, which in this case is no 12 volt supply coming from the car we're towing with. It does not work off the 12 volt battery on board the caravan. On the left hand side here, you can use the button to select what power source you want to use. So as you can see, we've gone to gas mode. The fridge will self-ignite on gas as long as it's turned on. The blue light here is your pilot light. Now, if this starts to flash, it means it has either failed to ignite or it has run out, or the gas bottle has run out. And it will come up with a 9 and a spanner symbol just here to also indicate that has failed. As I said before, the gas bottle isn't currently turned on, hence why it is failing to ignite. On gas or mains, you can control the temperature of the fridge on the button on the right hand side here. The more bars you have darkened out means that the fridge will be at its coldest setting. Press the button again and it will take us to our 12 volt mode. Again, the blue light indicates that there is mains power coming to the fridge. Again, if you come up with a spanner symbol, and I can't remember the number for that one, but a number here, it will actually mean there is no mains power coming to the fridge. And again, you can test that by pressing the test button down here on the control panel. Turn the fridge off, you'll press and hold the power button and that will turn the fridge back off. Microwave, very simple to use, the same as your household, the same as your hob, grill and cooker. And you've got your igniter on the front as you'd expect to see. Coming into the bathroom, the toilet has an electric flush on top, so you can use the toilet button to flush. You have a toilet full indicator light to let you know when the toilet waste cassette is completely full. The toilet seat turns for your convenience, as you can see here. However, when you're removing the toilet cassette from underneath the van, you do need to make sure the toilet is in this position, as it will lock the toilet cassette in place if that is turned at all. Below the toilet, you'll also see this grey handle. Now you need to pull that grey handle, or push that grey handle away from us to allow the toilet waste to go into the cassette underneath the caravan. Or when you want to remove the cassette from underneath the van, or from the side of the van, sorry, or when you are done using the toilet, we do advise you put it back to the central position. If that flap is open and you try and remove the toilet waste cassette, it will actually break the top of the toilet waste cassette itself. So that is the Lunar Quasar 534. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company and we'll be more than happy to help. We appreciate your business and we look forward to seeing you here on site later today. Thank you for now. Bye bye.